If you have been following, which I hope you have been, last video we talked about how to make characters. What is the heart of wonder? What is the heart of imagination? What is the heart of what ifs we constantly think of? I think original characters and their stories are the answer that we're looking for. I have been a creator for nearly half a decade, so I believe I am qualified to at least give you some tips and tricks of this creation business. Alright, so we are here to talk about genres and how that affects the characters' journeys, how that affects the stories. So I'm gonna give you some exhibits, and then we're gonna talk about how those are different from each other. So first of all, we got the Anomaly Universe. This is a sci-fi sort of fantasy hybrid, if you will. So we have all of these entities under this anomaly capturing through control. We have parasites from outer space. We have watchers able to transform people into darker versions of themselves. We have wizards with actual magic that can break the fourth wall. We have senseis that can control elements and use martial arts to their best advantage. We have doctors with highly advanced suits of armors that are controlled with mere thoughts. We have witches. We have assassins that can read minds from miles away. This is only just a few of the hundreds of entities under this universe's belt, of course. This is again showing you the sort of like what could happen, in my opinion. I feel like a great way to approach this would be to have different stories for each entity. So once I do eventually make a book about this, I'll have one story for the parasite, one story for the watch, one story for the wizard, one story for the sensei, and each one would have different elements added into it. There will be a little bit of a horror element added to the already fantasy, well, not fantasy, but sci-fi element. You have the sci-fi and horror element added to the parasite because people would die with that certain thing. You have a mystery added element to the watch wearer thing. Not really horror anymore because you wouldn't know who has the watch on. And it could be anyone. And I could picture myself making a whole story about that, developing characters, trying to figure out who is the one who has the watch. Then we add back the element of fantasy with the wizard. But then we have this new element of trying to survive, like the sort of onslaught that the wizard can bring, trying to contain something so vicious, so violent, so unpredictable. So I feel like different things, like once you grow your characters and grow your everything into universes, I feel like there's a difference between the universe's genre and the stories within that universe's genres. So, for example, this I could see it being more of a mystery story than anything. This one could be a fantasy. Well, fantasy, sci-fi. This could be horror or could be mystery. The power dynamic, it could be very interesting. All this being said, there's so many things that could be done with genres. Genres. I feel like people aren't bringing it up that there are differences between universe genres, which I'm gonna call that, and then scenario genres. We have a universe that is based on fantasy and sci-fi, but then we have the scenarios and if they have other elements. But that's just my opinion. That's just my experience. I could be wrong. Anyways. More about genre. I mean, genres could also they could also show what a character who a character could be. All right, we have a vampire universe, so we could have a mystery story about who is the vampire. And this vampire universe has different species in it, instead of just vampires and humans, so we could have a more chaotic story, a more, what would you call it? I mean, there's so many genres. There's fantasy, there's sci-fi, there's mystery, there's so many genres. Let me just look. There's also classical, science fiction, western, non-fiction, drama, humor, historical fantasy. You could do something where it enhances the lore upon the world you are within. And then you can have like a crime fiction. Maybe inside of this world where there's vampires and whatnot, they made this sort of society with all of these different creatures, including vampires, and and then some of them are taken under arrest and they're suspected to have been put to have done a crime, pretty much. Maybe that's more mystery than anything. I feel like that could go under crime fiction. Regardless, genres can genres, themes, those type of things can really establish a character and, well, the heart of a character. That's what they can establish. I will be right back with you for the next topic of this discussion. We're going to be talking about the four selves: the social self, the personal self, the core self, and the hidden self. I'll be right back with you, and I'll see you guys later. Have a wonderful day. Greet the world with open arms. Stay calm and collected. And I'll see you guys tomorrow or later, depending on when this is being uploaded.